Joining me from Kent now in Ohio in the United States is Steve Sosebee. He's Executive Director of Heal Palestine. Steve, good to see you. Just tell us, how are you feeling 1 year into all of this in Gaza and everything we've seen across the occupied West Bank as well from a humanitarian perspective?
I think all of us have a wide range of emotions on this issue, particularly those of us who've worked on this cause for so many years. The wide range is between despair and depression, sadness, to frustration and anger at the continuation of a genocide which has killed so many innocent people, particularly women and children, over the past year. And even before that, of course, this occupation's been going on for decades, and the siege as well. But I think for the past year, we've seen such brutality, such cruelty, such suffering, such hardship among so many innocent people, children, every day losing their limbs, losing their family members, losing their homes, losing their lives. This is just beyond heartbreaking, and it's going on in real time, that we see it every day, and that we're all witnessing it. It's not something behind the scenes, behind a wall, outside of the world's view or consciousness. Is even more saddening and frustrating and angering. We're all responsible for this, especially those of us here in the United States and in the West. And we all bear significant responsibility, and we all have blood on our hands because of our government's actions. And it's up to us to undo this crime that's been committed against the people of Gaza, the people of Palestine. And we're trying to do the best we can to help these children get the best medical care they can, to get food, to get mental health support, to get education. But the scale of this genocide, the scale of the suffering is beyond comprehension, and that it continues every single day and gets worse every single day is beyond the scope of understanding, or how our leaders can continue to look themselves in the mirror and call themselves leaders when this is being allowed to happen.
Steve, just on the point of all of the food, water and medical aid and equipment that is clearly there and waiting to get into Gaza, how frustrated does it make you feel when you see Israeli military stopping and preventing that, actively not allowing it to happen?
Well, it's extremely frustrating, and it makes you wonder how they can justify it. But it's not just the Israeli military who's denying it; it's the Israeli settlers. There's a faction of extremists in Israel who are standing in front of these trucks and knowing that children are going hungry and in many cases dying from starvation, the lack of proper nutrition. And people who have their own children are working hard to deny food to other mothers' children in Gaza. It's beyond what we could even understand as civilized human beings, as people who believe in the righteousness of human life, to look at this and think this is acceptable. We know that there is massive hunger, malnutrition, as Chris Guinness said a minute ago, and that this continues, and that there's trucks and trucks of food, of humanitarian aid, of medication, of supplies that would help lessen the suffering of innocent children, and yet they're being denied by politicians, by military persons, by individual citizens to get to those who are in need. It's just beyond the scope of humanity.
Steve, can I ask, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu has taken a look at the White House and perceived your president to be a lame duck president in the last few weeks of his administration, and this has given Netanyahu confidence to keep going with this genocide in Gaza?
I think certainly there's a political calculation being done in Israel which determines that the American government is not in a position to put any real restrictions on their actions and their behaviors. I'm not sure it has much to do with the election right now, insofar as both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, have indicated their full support to the Israeli government, and that there are no restrictions on how our military aid is to be used on the civilian population in Gaza, and that this will continue. There is no effort on the part of either party to put any kind of restrictions or legal requirements on the use of our weapons. Therefore, I don't believe Netanyahu and the Israeli government is too concerned about who's going to win the election in the United States. Both parties have shown their full support for what's happened in Gaza and have not indicated that there will ever be any kind of future restrictions on the use of American military aid to the state of Israel.
Steve Sosebee, Executive Director of Heal Palestine, live for us in Ohio. Thank you.
You're welcome.